Welcome back, students. We are going to create the body of the glider today. So hopefully we have something going like this for the wing here. So we didn't do this in the last video, so we're going to turn back on the origin, and this is going to help us create the body and make it a little easier here. So let's go back to our sketch, and the center point here and the origin. If you don't see the origin, you can turn it back on right there. It'd be really nice if those were actually lined up right now. So we'll line those up, and that didn't work. What happened there? Oh, I don't have this dimension properly right now. That should be the chord. Ooh. Anyway, something's going on with my design here. Well, if yours is doing the same thing, we're going to show, hopefully that worked for you. We're going to show you another way to do this. So basically what we're looking for here is for a plane that's in the center of the airplane. And you can see that one's not in the center of the airplane, which is what we are aiming for to have happen there. So if that's not working for you, you can continue and do it this way. We're going to say plane, and this is going to create a new surface where we can draw on. If we find mid-plane, that's going to be a nice way to do this. We can say this surface here and this surface here, and that's going to create a surface right in the center there. It's a little small one, but you can see it there. Now we have that, and hopefully that worked for you. If the first method didn't work. Now I'm starting a new sketch on that, and I can hide that so I don't have to look at that anymore. And there we go. We got that nice thing there. All right. So now I'm looking at it from the side. You can really draw whatever you want here. You are definitely going to have to do some alterations to this as we go. So I'm just going to say something like this. Remember, we're trying to keep everything super light here. And we're going to give it a little fin on the tail here, coming around the corner. And we'll say like this. And I know it looks a little goofy right now, but that's perfectly all right. I'll make it a little bit bigger right there. And looking good. I probably want to move the tail up a little bit. That looks a little weird, right? You're going to play around with this a lot. You're going to have to play around with this a lot, right? We've talked about a lot of things on here. You're going to have to tweak as we go here. And we probably want the area around the wing to be a little stronger here. But let's put a dimension on here before we go too far so we can kind of get an idea for this of how long it's going to be. 8.5. Let's just make that 8 for now. That shrunk things down a little bit. So I might need to adjust this and continue adjusting this until it's something that looks pretty good here. But once you kind of start to get something you like, we are going to want to...
Mr. Nyson, could you please call the main office? Mr. Nyson, call the main office, please.
We are going to want to put a little notch in here for the rear of the plane. And this one, usually we would do an interlocking one like we've done on past projects here. But on this one, we don't really know the wing, like the rear. We might need to adjust this a little bit and to make the plane fly a little straighter here. So let's do the dimension from here to here. In this direction is going to be that same number we always use, that 1/8 of an inch there. But the dimension here, let's make it a little bit larger than 1/8 of an inch. We'll say something like maybe 0.18, something like that. And you know what, I think I might need to make that even, let's make that 0.2, give yourself plenty of space there. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm adjusting that a little bit. And right now it's not wanting to move up here for you. But this is going to allow us to, there it goes. If we need to, we can take that rear stabilizer and adjust it a little bit so the plane flies a little more level. And we're going to say okay there. We're going to extrude. Oh, I forgot to do one thing there. Let's open that back up. We need to trace the outside of our wing here. So we get all those sides of that. And now let's hide that again so you can see what's going on there. All right, there we go. Now you have that hole for the wing. And now we are going to extrude that. That should be our 1/8 of an inch there. We want that to be a hole there in the back. And on this one, if we were to extrude it right now, it's going in one direction off to the left there. We want this to be symmetric so that it's actually in the center of the plane there. I'm going to say okay. And that's looking pretty good so far. All right, got a nice little glider. Like I keep saying, we're going to have to make some adjustments to this as we go. The last step here is, like we've done on the before on interlocking designs, you are going to put one more little fin in the rear here. I'm going to do this one really fast. And you are going to want this to be symmetrical and stuff, just like we've done before. And I'm going to kind of wing it a little bit here. Unintended. Wing it. It's a little wing. It's funny. And let's put free roll. Oh, that's pretty good, right? And we'll say okay. I'm going to hide these for a second. Put in a nice center line so I can mirror this and make it symmetrical. And as always, you should be pausing this video as you go here. Actually, I want to come back here. I like this, putting a little rounded front on the front of our piece there. It doesn't probably actually make any difference here because it's so small. That's pretty good. Makes it a little fun there. More airplane looking. And we'll say okay. Extrude. Making that, filling that middle gap. I don't know when that's filling in. There we go. Ooh. And we'll see that. I forgot something here right off the back here. When you come in there, this is not going to interlock right now. We needed that to fill in there. So we're going to say, come back to this sketch. We're going to say, use that little line right there. We'll hide that again. And just as before with our interlocking stuff, we're going to make a little notch here. All right, now we should go back to this extrude and say, yeah, that's going to make that notch there. That's good now. All right, we like that. All right, and now we officially have a glider. Before we think we're done here, we are going to really care about the weight distribution on this. So we might have to add some paper clips or something on the front to give it a little bit more weight on the front. But before we do that, we can actually do something pretty cool here. We can select all the parts here, and we're going to find the center of gravity, basically the balancing point. If you were to balance this like on the tip of your finger, we could find out where that would be on the computer. And we would really like that to be right under the wing here, as we see in, well, it's not in that. I can't show you that right now. Basically, the lift from the airplane is coming from the wing, so that's where it's being pushed up on, essentially, from all the air. We want the weight or the balance from all the force going up from the air to be on that same spot. So imagine if we could balance it on our finger, that's where we want the wind, the air to be pushing up on. So we're going to select all those pieces, and we're going to assign material. And for this, it doesn't really matter what we're assigning the material as. We're just going to call it one of those. We're pretending it's stainless steel, which is kind of crazy. The actual weight of this in the software doesn't matter. The important thing, though, is once we have these all selected and we've given it a, because they're all the same material, we're going to say mass properties here. There's a little scale in the bottom right corner there. And that's going to show us the center of gravity, right? So this little point that shows up there is the center of gravity. So right now, it's a little further back than we want. So we could do this and we'd have to add some weight to the front. Better yet would be to try and either add more weight to the front of the plane, or probably even better would be to add or take some weight off the rear of the plane. So you can do that by going back to some sketches. Maybe in the rear of the sketch here, we want to Hollow out the fin on the rear of the plane here might be a good way to do this. Anyway, you're gonna have to keep playing around with this a little bit. As I keep saying, there's not one perfect solution for this. You are gonna have to play around with that and hollow some things out, maybe drop some weight somewhere. Airplanes, they have to design these a lot, and they keep playing around with these a lot here. It's not like they designed an airplane that works perfectly on the first try here. And you see I removed some material back there, and it moved forward a little bit. We probably want to keep moving that forward, so you can keep playing around with that in different ways, trying to make things skinnier, maybe back here, right? So this could be skinnier right there. Bring that in a little closer and tighter there. Not too close, otherwise it might break, right? Let's keep trying that. And eventually we're going to get something that works or closer, so that when we can add a tiny bit of weight there. It keeps moving forward. Maybe a tiny bit of weight on the front would help solve that problem, but the less weight you have to add to this is going to be better. So keep playing around with that, enjoy, and feel free to ask me questions in class. Later, Gators. Peace.